hearing where they were talking about redistricting and, you know, the changes that have been going on. And listen to this exchange that you're going to bust out laughing when you hear it. So just rotate.
Okay. The second question I have is that, again, with the packing and cracking, when you've got a population and you decide to decrease the amount of folks in that minority group within a map, it's called cracking. This map, if you do your homework, looks like, again, we've got packing and cracking. So under the map that the Board of Commissioners submitted and that they want it passed for the General Assembly, we see that in District 3, they had 21% Black vote. But in your map, you've got 9% Black vote. So that's packing. And then, cracking. And then in District 2, that is now packed because Black voters went from 19% to 34%. Do you want to speak to how you made those decisions?
This was a map. I've never heard of packing and cracking.
That's what the courts call it. You can, if you do your homework, that's what the courts call it. And it's historic. It's been done with Black communities specifically.
Wow, okay.
It is historic.
You can take a look at the districts up there as they're drawn. They were drawn to be over smooth lines, over roads and so forth. There are some split precincts, just like there are for the Board of Education map. I don't know how to answer your question other than that.
You never heard of it. Where you been the last 40 years? Okay, then there was another meeting where these white Republicans are losing their mind. Roll it.
Thank you for offering that, Representative Wynn. We did offer this, and I do believe after your comments on Monday, we were encouraged when you said, go work this out. We did not work it out because we offered. I said, we can meet anytime, and we were shown the door. There was no public meetings. Whether you live in Cobb or whether you don't, the majority is 6-6. So you're going to give me 2 minutes, and I appreciate the 2 minutes. You're going to give me 2 minutes like you did the other day, and I offered. I came to your desk, and then, so I'm going to let Terry speak because right now I'm just disgusted at this chamber, disgusted.
I would be very, very careful.
Let me hear me out.
No, you're going to listen to me.
No, I'm not going to listen to you because I'm tired of you.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
We have 4.
You're out of order. You are out of order. Will you please call security?
That are fighting 3 African Americans. I dare you. So all we're asking is that we get the same respect that you white members get.
Oh my God.
So let me just be very clear. Go ahead.
Please, we have security on the way.
Please bring them on.
Wow, call security on the Georgia State Rep. Joining us right now are Georgia Representatives David Wilkerson as well as Renitta Shannon, who is running for Lieutenant Governor there. So is this simply a continuation of white Republicans in Georgia advancing the big lie, trying to limit Black power, trying to advance the redrawing of districts that also deny African Americans full participation in the political process?
Absolutely. So what we've seen Republicans do is across the state of Georgia in counties that have historic Black representation, they are going in and they are working overtime to do racial gerrymandering to dilute the Black vote. And so in Cobb County, which I'll let Representative Wilkerson talk about what he was speaking against when they called security on him, in that county, they, for the first time, it's been exactly 1 year, for the first time in its history, have a Black woman chairperson for the Board of Commissioners. And so what you see is historic representation in counties across the state, historic representation in the way of Black leadership, and you see Republicans coming in and trying to dilute Black voters through packing and cracking to regain some type of foothold in these counties.
Yeah, that's correct.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what you're seeing here is just the typical playbook where we have to abide by one set of rules, and then when the situation changes, they have a completely different set of rules. There have been over 200 bills that were introduced after the 2010 census. All of those were handled by the local delegations that were in the majority. However, this year, once again, all the bills are being handled by the local delegations, except for Cobb and Gwinnett, two counties that are run by African-American women, and the counties have changed to Democratic. And the only excuse they have is, we can do it. That's it. Not the rules, not anything else, except the fact that they said they can do it.
And so, I mean, you're at the podium and she calls security?
Yeah. You know, I have been here 12 years. I've been involved in politics probably since the 90s. I've never thought that I would be in this situation. I mean, I've seen my colleagues, now Congresswoman Nikema Williams, get dragged off. I've seen my colleague, Park Cannon, get taken away. And I never thought that by saying that I was disgusted would call for someone to bring security. And that was after she threatened me and told me I better be careful. So I think that times have changed. And as my colleague that's standing next to me, Terry Nolan said, it's fear that's driving them, fear causing them to act outside of what they normally would do. And I don't think they can handle the change that they're seeing.
Well, Representative Shannon, that's the thing. Look, I got a book coming out in September. It's called White Fear. I said how the changing demographics is making white folks lose their mind. So this is about holding on to power. This is about them not liking the fact that they have to share power, that in Georgia, you had the massive effort to register as many folks as possible. And all of a sudden now, they can't handle this process. I was looking at, I'm going to pull it up in a second. Before I came in, I was looking on social media, and in Louisiana, the Republicans there in their state Senate have advanced a particular bill that will limit. So Louisiana has 6 congressional districts. Black folks are still only going to have 1, even though African Americans make up 1/3 of the entire state. They're packing, to your point, packing them in that one district of Congressman Troy Carter.
Absolutely. And so I have served on this committee, governmental affairs, since being elected in 2017. And this committee deals with election law. And so we've seen nothing but voter suppression bills come through this committee. And this has been their strategy all along. They have been increasingly afraid of the growing diverse population that is mostly Black in Georgia. And they are really fearful they're going to lose power. I mean, just to sum it up for the type of people that we've been dealing with on this committee, we've got one representative that looks like every quintessential character in a 1960s movie about Black people trying to get the right to vote, and he is that white dude trying to stop them from getting the right to vote. He talks like these characters, acts like these characters, and is architect of many of these bills.
You know, the thing that really stands out here, Representative Wilkerson, is they're very brazen and open. And this is all because of the Supreme Court's ruling gutting Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act. The moment that happened, Chief Justice John Roberts, who wrote, hey, what's the big deal? Black people have been voting in great numbers, so clearly this thing is working. We can now get rid of it. It was that decision in 2013 that just led the way for them to say, oh, we're about to go full steam ahead to screw over Black voters.
You're right. And, the only thing that saved us back in 2002, when another Earhart dropped a bill that had diluted voting strength, was the Voting Rights Act, Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. And it's 20 years later, we're still dealing with the Earharts when it comes to Cobb County. It's another one, but we're still dealing with them. And so you're right. There's 2 groups of people that are at the Capitol. There's one that just don't care. They admit who they are, and they're pushing these laws and to disenfranchise people of color. Then you have another group of people who say that they're good people, but they just let it happen. And I remember having a conversation with one saying, what would you have done back in the 60s? If I was getting my head beat, if I was physically getting assaulted, what would you have done? And they said, I would have stepped in. And I said, you don't know that. You don't know what you would do until you're in that situation, because now you have a chance to step in and you're not doing it. And so while you work to fight bad laws, you're also working to change the lens that people see it through. If you're a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, even a 40-year-old white male, you're not going to know what it's like to live as an African American, where you've spent your whole life playing with a different set of rules. And so to try to get to change that lens takes a lot of work. But at the same time, you can't give up that fight.
Well, you can't do that. And the bottom line is what we're dealing with folks. If it was the 50s or the 60s, they wouldn't have stepped in, because you know what? Folks then didn't step in. They were afraid of their own family members. I'm reading the story of the book right now, Will Haygood's book on the confirmation battle of Thurgood Marshall, and that was a federal judge who believed in white supremacy. He was in elected office until he became a federal judge. And when he became a federal judge, he began to rule against white supremacists. They literally ran him and his wife out of the state of South Carolina, and they moved to New York because they said, "How dare you rule against us in favor of black folks?" And so there were very few people who were like that. That's what we are still dealing with, because those folks had children. And those folks have grandchildren, and they're passing those things down, and that's what we're seeing. So we appreciate both of you keeping up the fight, and keep battling.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I want to